I'd love to talk about plants a little bit, plant teachers. Um, you mentioned Noya Rao, which I believe is a single tree, and then you mentioned blue lotus, which is a variety, a species. Um, what what's it like to learn from a tree or a lotus? How does that come to be a teacher?
Well, that's a great question. Um, Beginning with, again, as we've talked about the foundations of what we've been studying and learning in the Shipibo tradition, learning from a tree or a plant is the foundation of the work to become a curandero, which is a word that sometimes is known as shaman, or as we say, curandero, plant spirit healer. The university of becoming a curandero is to learn directly from the plants. Similar as we were talking about with the teaching course, the cosmic course for the kids that you're bringing through.
Mm.
The teaching here is learning to be quiet and learning to connect to the tree or the plant as the teacher. Now, this process, which traditionally occurs, is something that a teacher will say, think this plant, there will be ayahuasca ceremonies as well, but go into isolation and learn from the plant. However, there's not often a roadmap that's given. So it's kind of like just go out into the wilderness without a map, and hopefully you'll find yourself there. And over time, maybe you're spending 2, 3, 4 years, you'll find your way. Absolutely valid path, absolutely valid path. And for some people, that may be the preferred method because there's definitely certain teachings that come there. However, from us, we've created a roadmap to help people learn to connect to those plant teachers in a dieta setting, a dieta being a period of time where people come to us or another teacher and are able to be in isolation with ayahuasca ceremonies in a retreat setting, drinking and connecting with a given plant teacher, in our case, Noya Rao or Blue Lotus. And through that roadmap, we aim to catalyze, to accelerate the experience, the learning of learning how to connect to that teacher. Why? It's not to bypass any lessons. It is so that you can start learning from a plant directly yourself. So spending less time wandering around, perhaps sometimes aimlessly in the wilderness, looking for the direction, we've created a roadmap to help people connect and begin to learning straight away from the teacher. Because again, Jamie and I are not the teachers in every aspect. We have a lot to share, and a lot of our teaching is about empowering you to recognize that all of the information, all of the wisdom is contained within. Learning from a plant teacher, coming back to the non-dual aspect, is another way, or is a stepping stone to be able to connect to the infinite intelligence. Now, depending on where you want to meet that plant teacher, you can do this from a more dualistic perspective, which is valid, or we can also take a quantum leap to the non-dual aspect and look at learning from a plant teacher to recognize that everything is being shared from that plant teacher is also accessible to you through your higher self, yet the plant is a perfectly constructed mirror for you to be able to see yourself more clearly in that moment. Why is it also beneficial? Because especially when we're first starting out to learn to connect to spirit, to start doing some of this non-dual work, i.e. recognize the oneness of all things, sometimes it can be really beneficial to have a concentrated point of focus, which is what the dieta is, where you focus on that one particular aspect of creation, in these contexts, Noya Rao or Blue Lotus, and allow divine creation to express themselves through that connection with the plant. And again, you can stop there, or you can then integrate that and recognize that everything that those plants are teaching is a reflection of my own true self through that interaction with that plant. That's where it becomes really empowering to be able to use plant spirit teachers to heal, to learn about oneself and the true nature of reality. So we have learned from various different plant teachers. And Noya Rao and soon to be Blue Lotus, what we'll be offering soon, or should be offering soon, will be the closest representation to what we believe of plant teachers that are here and designed to help activate your intuition and embody your own truth. When plant teachers are put on a pedestal, when plant teachers are then used to disguise the truth, i.e., implement limitations, there's been a step that has been missed, which reinforces the idea of separation, which in the aspect of non-duality and creation and learning about the infinite truth of all things is perfectly beneficial, because you need to see how limited you think you are to realize that you're not limited. So learning to move through that can be the breaking of those bonds of karma, of separation that have been influencing us for millions and millions of years. The opportunity, the invitation now is to see yourself as infinite and allow yourself to embody that beyond limitation. This is stuff that we learn from the plants that you will learn in your own way, in your own set and setting. Our experience here is not to teach you what the plants will teach you. Our environment that we provide, which we're now actually offering our ayahuasca retreats and our Noya Rao Blue Lotus to even more intimate settings, which we believe will be 3 or 4 people in our new retreat setting, which is going to be even more personalized learning, even more opportunity for solitude to be able to learn how to connect. Provide a safe setting in high integrity with an opportunity for you to learn to receive this wisdom intelligence yourself, not just for the duration of being here with us, but a foundation. We're going to help you learn to drive so that when you go home back to your own country or place, wherever that is, you can start driving the car with the vehicle that you've learned to drive on your own particular journey, whatever you've got to share with the world. It's all in service to all, service to others, i.e., what work we do here is for expansion and growth for the personal and collective experience. We want to help you to become a conduit, whether you're a business leader, whether you are someone who is a CEO of a company, or whether there's someone who is a healer or a podcast speaker or whatever it is. We're here to help you activate your own intuition and soul's blueprint through the medium of plant spirit healing in personal retreats and also through our online programs. However, coming and doing work with plant medicine in person is the quantum leap. That is the stuff that changes life. Well, it transforms lifetimes in short periods of time. And the unpacking of that learning experience can continue for several years, and it can just be like a rocket fuel boost for you to go through your own personal transformation. So you might notice that we're advocates of that. So that's what we're passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell. So, and you're not, so an ayahuasca retreat, if you're learning from Noya Rao, but you're not, so ayahuasca comes from a vine or a couple other plants, not from the Noya Rao tree itself. Is that right?
Correct. Do you want me to continue?
Yeah, continue.
So ayahuasca mixed with chacruna is the ayahuasca mixture that we use, which is the pure mixture, which is the safest form of working with ayahuasca. And just to add on from another point before, we were talking about how do you know what to do, we also have absolutely strict and thorough safety protocols that go throughout all of our retreats. So we also have it written down ways that we work with people for all eventualities that occur on retreat. Working with pure ayahuasca and chacruna mixes is one of the deepest safety protocols to enable that pure experience. What ayahuasca does is open a portal to the multidimensional realm. And when we say a portal, it's just so that you can enter through it and experience it. It's always already there. The ayahuasca realm definitely has its own flavor. So whilst you are entering into the multidimensional portal through plant spirit healing, through ayahuasca and chacruna, then you enter into the realm of plant spirit healing. Now, Noya Rao and Blue Lotus are 2 beings which within their worlds and realms have multiple beings that you can learn to access through the portal of ayahuasca. So we use and work with ayahuasca as a portal to connect to other plant spirits, as well as the spirit and the medicine of ayahuasca. So there's two different ways that we work with people. We have our plant spirit healing retreats, which we are currently revamping and will be on our website soon. So if you're interested in any of this and you get this podcast before it's on our website, please just send us a message through our website and you can just come onto the waiting list for our new retreats. But we're going to be having around about 10-day retreats, which are going to be ayahuasca focused, where we'll be working with other plants, but you're not learning from the plants like we're describing in a theater setting. You'll obviously be learning, but in a way that is focused on healing of trauma and evolution. In the theater setting, this is where you go into the isolation or the solitude with the plant spirit of Noya Rao or Blue Lotus. And this is where you learn to activate your own blueprint through the healing tradition of plant spirit healing in the theater setting, which is based throughout the foundations of the healing technologies which have been present throughout the Shipibo tradition for thousands and thousands of years and many generations. So whether you're feeling like you want to come with us and do a longer program of doing a theater to learn specifically from Noya Rao or Blue Lotus, or if you're wanting to come and heal and grow with us, we have 10-day programs or also longer theater programs available. And that'll be clear, the separation of those on the website.
Can people learn from other plants like coffee or tobacco, or do these plants appear as teachers when you open that portal as well? Or
yeah, I think you're going to say something. Can I just finish off
Absolutely.
what I was going to say? And I'm going to pass over to you because I feel you got a lot of stuff to share here. So whether you're doing a theater or not, when you're working with us on a plant spirit healing retreat, you'll be working with plants and you'll be learning from plants. There's just a separation, or a differentiation would be the best word, between being in a theater setting and making a set agreement or space and time to learn from that plant in isolation. But we also have different plants that we work with on the retreats in our saunas or our vapor baths. We won't be learning from coffee on these retreats, but in the sense, in the ayahuasca ceremony, if you invited the spirit of coffee forth to teach you, then absolutely you could. The importance is really, what is your intention here? And that's about the polarization in a positive way into, I'm here in service to all to learn for my highest, greatest good. And yeah, many different plants will come forth and learn. We learn from many different plants that we've not ingested that present themselves in ceremony and not in ceremony to share their wisdom with us. Just like I imagine that you learn from the forest in many different ways. You're not necessarily drinking from the forest as you're going on your runs and tuning into the energy of the forest, as what was coming before, but it's that connection that you're connected to all things. You don't have to ingest a plant to be able to learn from it. However, it's very beneficial to be able to do that, to catalyze that process. Over to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Derek, I just love that question. So here's the thing too, as Michael and I've discussed, like, yeah, sure. Someone wants to bring that intention into ayahuasca ceremony and sort of have that really direct, immersive experience of like, okay, that's what this plant's energy is like, or that plant's energy is like. And that's also, every single one of us is entirely capable of doing this in regular daily life. I used to teach this when before I moved to Peru. I used to teach a plant spirit communication workshop, which was just so much fun. We would go out and have a place where we met in nature, and maybe 20 people show up, and just walking around and connecting with a huge 3-foot diameter oak tree, and following, and I would guide these and just kind of follow the guidance of the oak tree, how we were going to be connecting with it. And then walk over, and there's a little stand of black-eyed Susan, little flowers with all these bees around it buzzing. And it's like, okay, let's go over here and consciously connect with the energy of the black-eyed Susans and also the bees. So like, okay. And then everybody take a moment through the exercise to connect with the energies and the spirit of those plants and those beings, and then have like a feedback on it. What did you experience? What did you see? What did you feel? What did you sense? What emotion came up? And the intelligence of the spirit of those plants, and the bees for some reason keep wanting to come through. They're like, don't forget about us. I'm like, okay. The bees and the black-eyed Susans and the 3-foot diameter oak tree, and they all have a different energy about them, and they all have different messages to share. And some people receive personal messages for something that they're going through or really struggling with. Other people feel or sense a message that has to do with, that whole landscape. Other people get a message that tells them something about, oh, this is going to help solve the issue or the challenge I'm having with my mom. And it's just fascinating, again, because the intelligence of all beings in spirit, and again, the many faces of God, and as they come through the plants, they can all bring us healing, and they'll meet us where we are. And so where one person might be getting information about the entire landform, another person's getting information on how to walk through this challenge with their mother. And it's the same plant, just different medicine for each person. And so it's quite a lovely thing. Anybody can go out and do this today. And one of the plants that always seems to show up is dandelion. And I think dandelion kind of makes a point of like, you think I'm a weed and you kind of look past me and overlook me, but I'm powerful. I'm so strong. You won't believe it. And you just sort of forget about me, that I exist. But here I am. And so, I know, like Michael, I'm going to joke about him for a second. He's Welsh and he loves tea. And
Yes.
in the States, we just don't have the affinity for tea like they do in the UK. But Michael really loves his plant teas, and he'll kind of feel it, just intuitively. He'll be like, today my body wants ashwagandha. Oh, tomorrow it wants jasmine. And he'll feel when a tea's calling him, or when his body is needing a tea or wanting a tea. And then like when he drinks a tea, or if I, on a rare occasion, agree to drink tea with him.
It's such an honor when Jamie drinks a tea with me. They can mark it down as one of the best days of the year.
I'm always like, why would I drink tea when there's coffee? But anyways, when I drink tea with him, Michael's always like, can you feel the jasmine? Do you feel what it's doing to your brain? And I'm like, well, hold on. Okay. So we kind of do this thing where we're like, what are you feeling from the tea? So I make that joke in that anybody has access to tea. You can start there. By anybody knows, anyone who's drinking a peppermint tea, and you can go find that at Starbucks, or you can find it in your organic natural food store. Anyone who's drinking a peppermint tea, you feel yourself wake up. You feel yourself, your attention kind of lighten up. You feel sort of like, okay, I think I'm going to stand up straighter, a little bit straighter. You feel yourself wake up. So that's a signature of that plant. And you don't have to be practicing intuitive for 10 years to know that. And so that's what I also love about plants, is they tend to have these personalities or these signatures that are really recognizable. People know that chamomile has a very sort of soothing, softening, I'm going to put a blanket around you like you're a baby. I'm going to take care of you. That's a chamomile energy. So drinking teas is also another great way to experience or connect with the spirit of plants.
Yeah, and I think just say as well, on our website, on our growth portal, we have a free meditation that people can connect to. That is a plant spirit meditation that you can just go and listen to. That you can do it while you're drinking a tea, or you can do it out when you're out in nature, and it just step by steps guide you through an intuitive practice to connect to that. And also, it's interesting that you said coffee, because I remember when we were in ceremony about 4 years ago, and Jamie sang a song to me from a coffee tree. It just came up afterwards. You did.
It's true.
So
the plants they're fun.
Yeah. You're reminding me, when you're talking about peppermint, of going into the peppermint room at Celestial Seasonings Tea Factory in Boulder. it's a room like the size of a house full of peppermint. And you
Wow.
just go in and it's like bathing in peppermint, and eventually you start crying and you're like, oh, this is too much. But you go in and you're like, I'm ready for anything. It's great. You also reminded me of the history of why the Brits and the Welsh and everyone, why you guys drink tea, because you lost your colonies that made coffee. So you're like, we'll just do tea instead, as I recall it.
Improvising.
Yeah.
Standard.
Hey friend, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this particular clip, then I have something else I want to tell you about, which is the League of Superconductors. It's a business mastermind that I run to elevate the greatest change makers of our time. That is people that I like to call quantum entrepreneurs, metaphysical, spiritual teachers, healers, coaches, light workers of different types. And this is a year-long business mastermind starting in May of 2022. So if that's the type of thing that you're looking for, if you're looking to better fuel your mission by having a business that brings in all the abundance you're looking for, that both operates at the 3D level, serving the people of Earth, and at a multi-dimensional level, bringing in all of the higher wisdom and experience that you have access to. That's what we're doing. So if that sounds like something for you, then you can check out the link below, read a little bit more about the program, what we do each month. And I also invite you to apply for a call with me, a strategy session. We can get to know each other. I'll coach you a little bit, and you can decide if that might be the exact thing that you've been looking for. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.